Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, My Social Thread. My name's Crystal, and today I'm going to be sharing with you another interview that I have done with a fabric store owner. And today it's Marie from the Fabric Revival store. She is also a sponsor of our for our challenge, the Selfless Sew April 22 challenge, where she's offering a £15 voucher to one of our lucky winners. Also at the end of the interview, Marie does also give us a discount code for everything on her website, so please do watch until the end. Without further ado, here's the interview. Welcome back, everybody. So today we have Marie, who's a busy mum of two. She is also the owner and manager of the Fabric Revival, which is an online fabric store based in Cornwall. Hello, Marie. Thank you very much for joining us.
Lovely to be here.
How are you today?
Yeah, really good. Just enjoying some downtime after the kids have gone to bed, but yeah.
Excellent. So the Fabric Revival, how did you come up with that name?
It came to me. So I get all my good ideas at like 3 in the morning.
Perfect.
And then I just have to write them down. But I love the idea that like my business started kind of during COVID, which is a terrible time to start a business. But I love the idea that people seem to be really getting into sewing. Like really sewing did seem to have revived itself. And there's always, like since I started sewing, there's been a community.
Yeah.
But it just absolutely blew up. And I thought like it's quite a nice idea, like, just sewing revival, fabric revival. And yeah, like I said, it came to me in the early hours and that was it.
And that's how that started. And so how did you start off the business then? How long have you been trading for?
It started in December of last year. It came about because originally, after maternity leave, I went to work and nursery fees were just ridiculous. And I've wanted to start a business for a while,
Okay.
but it's just never been a good time. It's it's just pregnancy, children, and then I had to leave my job because even like both my partner and I were on good money. Like the nursery fees each month were just ridiculous. So I thought, right, I'm at home. I need something to do.
Yeah.
And I have been wanting to start a fabric business for a while because I love fabric and like to be able to just, sell it. So I just thought, well, there's never going to be a better time than now that I've got time to put into it. And yeah, it just kind of progressed from there.
Lovely. And what do you sell online? So fabric, haberdashery, patterns, that sort of thing?
Yeah, at the moment, I just have a small collection of fabric. I'm wanting to expand a bit more and I'm getting more fabric in. Eventually, I'd like to start selling patterns, more haberdashery. A little while back, I put on my Instagram that I'm really interested in expanding to naturally dyed fabrics. Because I do quite a lot of natural dyeing myself. It's something that I've been playing around with for years. And so at the moment, I'm just kind of like twigging the perfect way to get the dye in the batch, and I'm doing loads of tests. And eventually, I'm hoping that I'll be able to start selling my own naturally dyed fabric.
Oh, perfect. So that will sort of be your unique selling point, as it was.
Yeah, that's definitely the direction I want to go.
Lovely. And with the fabric that you have in the store at the moment, how do you choose, like, sort of what you want to, how do you choose what you put online to sell?
There's really no algorithm. It's kind of, I love it. I put it on there. I try and do very much a case of like a different fabric to what you see in other shops. So I try and mix it up. There are some fabrics you will find in other shops, but if I see a fabric that I think's unique and different and I'm drawn to it,
yes,
that really is all there is to it. There's no method there.
And do you buy it from like a wholesaler all the time?
Yeah.
Yes, wholesale. And where are these wholesalers? Like, obviously, a normal person like myself wouldn't be able to buy from them, but where do you find out about them? Is there like a direct wholesalers or?
So it started off like it was Google. Google was the best tool, and there's loads of really good resources, and from there you just get twigged to more. And most of my wholesalers are in the UK, but I've had fabric from India, I've had fabric from Europe. So yeah, it really is just kind of a case of hunting down, and then you find a fabric shop, have a look through, and the stuff that, I mean, even now I'll look at one fabric shop and I'll just search type of fabric in wholesale and I'll find a shop. And yeah, it really is just the most basic of finding a shop, looking into their ethics, making sure that the fabric's good quality, and then just going from there.
Lovely. And is it presumably it must be so much fun, like looking through? Is it like a direct
Oh,
or like an online store as well? How do you fabric buy?
at the moment, it's all online. I live in Cornwall, and there aren't. I mean, I think most of the wholesalers are in London.
Okay.
So, but I'm hoping, like at some point this year or next year, I want to travel to different parts of Europe, like Morocco. I mean, my friend who travels a lot, she every time she's like, "Yeah, no, I'll come. We'll go on holiday, just look
Ah,
at fabric wholesalers." My partner a couple of years ago, he went to Vietnam for work, and
okay.
he said, like, the markets there were amazing. I'd love it. So it's like, right, we're going to Vietnam, and like, so I'm hoping next year, business trips,
Business trip,
holidays to
yeah.
go.
That's a great idea. And gosh, yes, yeah, the amount of fabric you get, and also the price and the
Oh God,
variety would be so different out there. Bringing that back here, that would sell really, really well, wouldn't it? And like you say, you're on the hunt for these different fabrics. I did have a quick look in your shop, and I've not seen that leopard print suede before, so that's nice. And also some of your quilted fabric on there. That's quite different as well, which is nice.
yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I think it's nice to have a different variety because obviously there are some fabrics. So I've got some Cloud 9 fabrics. I'm just looking now. I think, yeah, like
Oh,
I've got some
fabric as
basic
well.
jerseys and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my main thing is it's just like I said, if I see a fabric that I'm like, oh, I haven't actually seen this before, so I'll get that because I think, like I said, a lot of the times it is just stuff that I'm drawn to, and I think, well, if you can get it elsewhere, although it might be nice to stock it,
Mhm.
it would be nice to have things that people can't get just to add a bit of variety, a bit of difference.
Definitely. And
Because
obviously it helps people go to your store rather than to another store.
yeah,
So that's, yeah, no, that's a great idea. And how, as you know, you are a busy mum of two. How do you juggle sort of mummy duties and household duties and running a business?
I kind of I'm always been one of those people that's been all or nothing. Like when I remember at one point, when I first had my first child, and as soon as I went back to work, I was doing an online university course. I was working full time. I was parenting, and I don't know. I feel like I quite like to have quite a few balls to juggle because it keeps me busy. I'm not one of those people that can just sit around. I need to be doing something, or I just go absolutely doolally.
Yeah.
So it's just about managing my time. So I know I worked for about 12 years in childcare and nurseries,
Okay.
and a lot of that is managing your time, when you're in work and that. So I know, like, I kind of treat having children as not as if it was at work, but it's like, all right, we have these routines, we do this activity now, we have this, you go down for a nap, that's my time to do work. This afternoon we'll do this and this, and then in the afternoon then that's my time to work again. And it's just about like setting out those time plans to be like activity in the morning, go outdoors. Like obviously children, you can't get it to concrete, stuff's going to happen, but as long as I've got their nap times the same time every day. I
Mm.
know my partner gets back about 4:30. I say to him, right, this is your time with the children. I'm going to go upstairs, I'm going to do work. Because owning a fabric shop, a lot of it is actually just social media. That's kind of the main bulk of it. And then I also like to take time to sew for myself,
Okay. Yeah.
because obviously, that's kind of where if I get really stressed, that's what I like to do. I like to take myself away. So
Excellent.
yeah, it's just
Yeah, so talking about you saying about social media, you've got an Instagram page as well. When did
Mhm.
you start that? Your Instagram account?
I had just a regular Instagram. I've never really been that big on social media. I mean, on Facebook, even now, I don't really follow anybody. Like all my friends on there, I've kind of got them all muted, and I just kind of stick to the fabric shops, like fabric sites I like, and the groups. And I had my personal Instagram account, but I didn't really use it that often. And then when I started sewing, I discovered this huge community.
Indeed.
Like, it just goes hand in hand. And I was like, I started off sewing to get some like sanity during maternity leave. I was like, I'm on maternity leave, I'm bored. And I had a friend who'd been making these headscarves, and they were really nice. And I was like, I can make stuff. And my parents, bless them, they're so supportive. They bought me my first sewing machine,
Aw.
and I made a terrible pair of trousers. I think I
That's your
used, I
first
don't know,
project.
like, yeah, yeah. But it was, but it wasn't using a sewing pattern. It was tracing.
Oh,
Actually, I think I think I actually just used a tutorial, and like I cut out the basic shape. I didn't know anything about seam allowances. like the waistband was just the width, like the elastic for the waistband was the width and the length of the elastic of the waistband, because like I didn't know you had to use smaller elastic and it had to be pulled taut. They didn't fit. I think they burst at the seams. But I wasn't discouraged apparently. And then I discovered sewing patterns, and then I discovered the community. I set up an Instagram account, and just, the rest is history.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, I didn't start off with trousers. You literally jumped off at the deep end, didn't you, with trouser making the first project? But no, talking about the sewing community, I first started my Instagram account just to enter some competitions and things. And then I've never won anything, to be fair, since then. It's just meeting all the other people and, talking about your makes, or if you have to ask for advice. Everybody's just so friendly, and it's so lovely to be part of this lovely sewing community. So on your
honestly, it's the most supportive community ever. Like, I know starting up a business is the scariest thing, but being part of this community actually weirdly makes it less scary. It's like, it's still, you get the inferiority complex and all of that, but I know that it's such a supportive community that people are just so understanding and lovely, and it's really, really nice.
Yeah, no, it is really, really good. So back to your Instagram account, you've got these like top tip Tuesdays that you do?
Yeah, I'm falling so behind on them. Yeah, so I started doing Tip Tuesday every Tuesday, just to, kind of, it's like things that I've learned that have helped me, because a lot of my shop, like I try and include as much information in the descriptions of like all my fabric as possible, because I want to aim it at beginner sewists as well, because like I said, like so many people are coming out of COVID sewing now.
Yeah.
So the Tip Tuesday was also designed to I encourage new sewers who came to my social media and be like, this is what helped me this is what I wish I'd have known when I started sewing. No, and I've fallen so behind with that. I need to really get back into it.
What's your top tip then, do you think, out of all the tips you've given?
Oh gosh, I'm at that point in my life now where I get like information comes in and then something goes out.
Oh no, yeah.
And anytime anybody asks me something, I panic and I can't remember. But I think like the biggest tip I can have, and it's not specifically sewing related, but it's like, don't strive for perfection, because if it's, I know sometimes I'm making something, and I made my dad some coasters at Christmas, and I used the wrong sewing for the binding around the edge. And every time I saw anybody said something, I was like, oh yeah, but the binding went wrong. And my dad even started saying, Mari made these and they're amazing. She's going to say that the binding's wrong, but I think they're good. And the whole point is like, nobody cares what you pick out. Yeah. Yeah, like you're so focused on it and it stresses you out. But like my dad said, he was like, I don't care, I don't notice it. He's like, I didn't notice it until you pointed it out. And it's like, yeah.
I guess that's because we've made it, we notice all those little things. Yeah. Like if it's a gift, the person that receives it or the person that sees it, they just see, wow, you've made this full garment that you can wear, and that's amazing. So I guess it's a very good tip to not seek perfection.
Yeah, it's that funny thing, isn't it? It's like, oh thanks, I made it, but this is wrong and this is wrong. And it's like whole thing in the sewing community, isn't it? It's like as soon as like somebody compliments you, go into like panic mode, start pointing out all the bits. And and it's just that thing of like, especially if you're just starting, like just have fun, because you don't want to get hung up on those. Sewing is amazing and you will learn and you will I mean, I've been sewing for years, and like the other day, like I think like one of my biggest mistakes is I ended up sewing the hem of a sleeve to my arm side.
The hem,
really? Yeah.
The other way
around. There for ages. Like, why is the sleeve like the sleeve is meant to ease in? So why is the arm side bigger than the sleeve when I'm meant to gather the sleeve in? I was there for ages, and it's only when I went away and came back and looked, and I was like, it's because I've sewn the hem. Like, So silly mistakes do happen. Like even now, you just got to laugh at it and move on.
Yeah, and that's a good tip as well. What you've just said, if you're having like a meltdown and things aren't going well, you just have to leave the room, leave your sewing project for like 5 minutes, maybe even half a day or a whole day, go back to it with a fresh set of eyes, and just and then you'll easily figure out what's wrong with it, isn't it?
The amount of times I've been stuck on a sewing process doing it,
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, well, I'm going to put it down. I'll come back the next day and I'll be like, oh, it was just because I was getting so overwhelmed. And the more stressed you get, the harder it is to figure it out. But yeah, like suddenly you come back and it's so easy. Yeah.
Definitely. No, I agree with you. So what about these Saturday social newsletters that you've started doing?
Yeah. So that's it's partly sewing, so it's like, to say what's new in the shop, but it's also just kind of a roundup of things that I'm enjoying, like so podcasts I'm enjoying if I've like read a good book. Because I mean, like I know a lot of like people like to listen to music or podcasts while they're sewing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I've listened to a really good podcast, it's like, yeah, this is great to put on while you're sewing. Just bits of inspiration, and just kind of I've always quite enjoyed writing and doing these little roundups. So I thought, might as well do it into and like I'm hoping to start doing a bit more, like a few more newsletters, because just the more fabric I'm getting in, like when I get fabric more regularly, I do a fair bit of inspiration on my Instagram, so it'd be nice to put them in emails as well, like a kind of at the end of like a weekly roundup of just everything that's been on my social media, because not everybody has Instagram.
No.
Or not everybody uses it. So it's just a different platform for people to, see what I'm posting on there. It's just a different medium for that.
Yeah, definitely. And also it gives you a better presence, a bigger presence online anyway.
Yeah.
So, like you say, if they're not using Instagram, then this is via email. And is the content of your newsletter different to what you write in your blogs on your site? Or is it?
Some of it similar. Like I said, I don't tend to do the weekly roundups of what I'm enjoying. That's specifically to the newsletter. And if it will just be more of a directing people. So I'm hoping to get guest bloggers on soon. I've got a few people on the list for that, and it will just kind of be directing people. So come click through to read the blog post and that, and just introducing them. So yeah, that's just kind of just directing people and just a summary of what's going on.
Lovely. That was actually going to be my next question. I did see that you did do a call out for bloggers. Was that like a couple of weeks ago or last month?
That was couple.
And you've now found your 12 bloggers. When will they start blogging? When will that start happening, do you think?
So I've got my first blogger at the end of this month. She's working dutifully. But yeah, it's something I wanted to start when I first started the website. I love reading people's guest blogs. I love hearing what people have to say. Like my whole thing is like, be honest. If you don't enjoy working with the fabric, or if there's something that you found, I want people to know, because if somebody loves the print and like, so I know, say you put it in the wash and you found it like frayed a lot, I want people to know that, because then it's like, then it just means that, okay, they know to finish the edges before they put it in the wash. If you found it was slippery, then that's great. Then I can go away and look at ways to be like, okay, this is a slippery fabric. What can I do? Like, what advice can I give to make it easier to work with? So the whole thing is like, complete honesty. You don't need to be like, oh, I loved it, because you're getting free fabric.
Yeah.
It's so that I can, because like, I mean, I'm not, as much as I do sew up fabric from like what's in my shop, because I can't help myself, I don't do all of it. So I'm not, I don't know how they wash, I don't know how they, and instead, if it is like a fabric that somebody says is particularly slippery, it's like, okay, no, that's great, I can add onto the website, this is what I found out. So it's almost like people test riding my fabric, so I know what advice I can give going forward and that kind of thing. Yeah.
And that is really, really useful, especially I think for sort of the more expensive fabric, like you say you stock Cloud9 and Art Gallery, so that's quite expensive. So perhaps if one of your bloggers did something on that, and just to say maybe it isn't worth the price point, or maybe wow, this fabric is,
then it helps me out. Yeah,
it does,
because like shopping online is, you can't feel the fabric as much as like I try and give as much detailed description as I can. I'm not a psychic. I don't know what I mean, if people want information, I'd love them to tell me, and then I can add that. But obviously I can't help let them feel the fabric through the screen and all that. I wish I could, the future one day, but it's just, it just means that like they'll try different fabrics, and it just means that I can be as transparent, as descriptive as possible, especially for people just starting out.
No, no, that's great. I think bloggers are a great thing for a business. So all this love of fabric that obviously originated from you sewing. When did you start sewing again? Was it when you were quite young?
It was about No, I started about 4 years ago. I'd never, like, none of my family sews. My nan used to sew, and I'm really sad that I actually got into that after she passed, because she was so creative. She was an absolutely amazing woman. One of those women where you would just go for a walk, and she just point to every single one of the plants, tell you what it was.
Ah,
And yeah, she used to sew. I've actually got some, like, I got handed down some of her stuff when after she passed. My parents always say, like, my creativity came from her, and my, like, everything. I worked in childcare for about 12 years, so I've always been quite creative. I've enjoyed, like, arts and crafts, and I've always just kind of enjoyed trying new things. So, like, I've tried knitting, cannot get the hang of it. Tried crochet, cannot get the hang of it. I love hand embroidery, but sewing just seems to really be one that I've just gone, like, full on gung ho, just cannot put down, absolutely love.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Me and you both. So with regards to sewing, are you a tracer or a cutter when it comes to patterns?
I'm a cutter. I don't mind. I can just, like, I see why people like tracing. It is a
Hmm.
lot more convenient, but I quite like the routine of sitting in front of the TV. I mean, like, my partner, honestly, I think we wouldn't spend much time together if I wasn't
Unless
sat down in front of
unless
the
you had
TV
PDF
cutting up.
sticker.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise I'm upstairs doing stuff, but that's when we have time. I'm like, I've always got something on. We'll put a film on. I'll just be sat there cutting out, and I quite enjoy just, yeah, the, like, sitting down and keeping my hands busy doing that.
Definitely the same with us as well. It's like if there's a movie on, I'm like I'm picking something, or
Yeah,
I'm
I've got to be.
sticking a PDF pattern
Yeah,
together. But yeah, you might as well be doing two things at once, right?
exactly. Yeah, multitasking. Why not?
Multitasking. So what do you prefer when you finish off your garments? Bias binding or facings, or does it just depend on whatever the pattern tells you to do?
I think it. I mean, I like the look of bias binding more. I mean, when I'm looking for something easier, I'll go for facing. But I don't understand how people stop facings, like, flipping up. I sew in the seams and everything, and it doesn't work for me. I've not figured out that magic yet. If anybody knows, please impart your wisdom.
Literally
So
just done a dress for my daughter. It's the Pauline Alice I'll Die dress, and again it had a facing, and it says, you're supposed to understitch where you attach the seam allowance to the lining, so then it doesn't peek through, but it still peeps through. I
yeah.
mean, I
I do
don't.
that. I understitch. I sew it at the, like, I stitch in the ditch. I do all of that, and it still pokes out. So I like how easy it is, but I just cannot figure out how to stop it popping up. So yeah, I'm bias binding for that.
Nobody else has figured that out either, and somebody's come up with like a solution for that. I don't know.
There's got to be something, because I don't hear many people moaning about it, but I'm like, I'm surely cannot be the only one who's, like, thinking this.
That's true. So in your time of sewing, what's your favorite make, do you think? Do you have a favorite make?
I actually recently posted this. So my regular Instagram is So Disorganized, and I recently posted my coat. Actually, it's hanging there. I'll go grab it.
Let's see.
Yeah, I call it my Technicolor dream coat.
Wow.
Yeah, I made this for New Year's,
Excellent.
and yeah.
Oh my goodness. Is the fabric? Oh wow.
Yeah, and then, like, I've got a
That?
Lady Macquarie lining, and yeah, so this is by far my favorite make. It took, like, this was such an expensive fabric. I splurged on it a few years back, and then and it's been in my stash for about 2.5 years, because since I bought it, I've been too scared to cut into it.
Yeah.
And then New Year's came, and I was like, right, no, I'm going to use it. I'm going to make something, and I'm so glad I did.
Where did you
Yeah.
get the fabric from, and what is it? What is the fabric makeup?
So it's like a long pile faux fur, like you can,
Over. Yeah.
yeah. And I can't. It was about £30 a meter, so it wasn't cheap.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was from a Belgium shop.
Oh, okay.
And I can't actually remember the name of it now. I did try and hunt it when I uploaded it to my Instagram, but I cannot remember the name of it. But yeah, it was definitely a splurge impulse buy.
Definitely. And then
I
on
think
top of that, you put a Lady McElroy lining as well.
Oh yeah. Well, I thought, the insides have to look as good as the outsides. I cannot skimp.
Yeah.
So yeah. But Yeah, I think I was watching a film or something and I saw a multicolored coat and I was like, I want one of them. So I went on a hunt for fabric. I found this, and then yeah, like I said, was too scared to cut into it for years. And then when I did, honestly, it looked like a Muppet massacre. My room was so covered in fur. Like my partner for weeks afterwards, he was just finding it all around the house. It was
And how was it to sew through? Because it looks quite thick.
it wasn't too bad. I mean, you have to do the tediousness of like trimming all the seams and that, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was, I'd recommend it for beginners at all. But it wasn't as daunting as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, but I mean,
Like
yeah, it's lovely, bright, colourful. And for New Year's, was it New Year's Eve party or just New Year's Day or?
yeah, I just kind of made it for going out on New Year's. I just I just thought, yep, I want some frosting. I'm gonna go for the coat.
Oh, that's beautiful. So going on from that, what's your least favorite make or a big sewing fail apart from those trousers? Or is that
Oh,
your fail?
I don't know. I feel like I learn everything from my mistakes. I mean, there's nothing that I've made that I haven't found useful. So I might have, cut into something, I've been able to remedy it, or I've been able to use like repurpose the fabric. But I've had some pretty big sewing mistakes like since I learned. But I don't know, I quite enjoy making mistakes because I feel like I always learn from them. Like I learn more from the garments that go wrong than the ones that go right.
Hmm.
So I
That's a
kind
good
of
way of
feel like,
looking at things.
yeah,
Every garment is a learning experience, isn't it? And that just, yeah.
yeah.
So that's of doing it. What's your favorite fabric base, Marie? What are you drawn to?
I feel like it's quite boring, but I love cotton poplin.
Oh,
Like that is,
really? Wow.
yeah.
Excellent.
I I feel like it's really easy to work with. It's so satisfying to press.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like it's a really understated fabric because you get it in so many amazing prints.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, and I just think it's just I've never had a bad experience sewing with it. I find that, like it's a great one to do, like, if you just stressed from sewing and you want an easy project.
Mhm.
It's so versatile. So yeah, like I feel like it should be something fancy, but no, it is just
But
cotton
that's really
poplin.
good because especially for beginners, you seem to be always out, looking out for the beginners because cotton poplin is the best thing to start with, isn't it? And it's readily available in most fabric stores. So that's a good one to go for.
Yeah, because people, like, I know when I started sewing, I was really drawn to quilting cottons before I really understood. And then you just think, oh, like, because it's the colours and the patterns that you're really drawn to. But you get them with poplin, but it's a much more dressmaker friendly fabric. And you can still get those amazing, like, unique, different prints. Like, I'm planning my birthday dress at the moment. Actually, I think I've got that. So I've been sorting out my
Let's
fabric
see.
samples. Yeah, this isn't in my shop, so but this is just an amazing poplin. It's got strawberries all over it, like
Oh,
oranges. And yeah, and just like those prints, I'm like, right, that's going to be just a big puffy sleeve dress because I know it has a structure. I know
good
it's going to
sleeves,
be,
yeah.
yeah. It's just, I just think, yeah, you can make anything with with cotton poplin.
And what pattern are you going to go for the big sleeve dress, do you think?
Uh, I'm tweaking two dresses. So there's I can't remember what it's called. It's the Vicky sews. She's got a pattern with big sleeves, so I'm taking the bodice from that, and then I'm using the new dress pattern from Stitch Witch, but then I'm hacking it to have a sheared back. So
Okay.
it's kind of just, yeah, a mixture, but it's going to be like big puffy dress at the bottom, big sleeve, which is really not something I'd ever sew before. It's really not my style.
Well,
But
I look
I
forward
thought,
to seeing it made up.
yeah, yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, it's going to be good.
So with regards to prints on fabrics, what are you drawn to? What do you go for print wise for yourself?
So I'm a big fan of leopard print. I feel like, that's definitely a neutral. But my style is always changing. I went, like, last year I was really into neutrals, and this year now I'm into florals, bright colors. So yeah, I feel like I'm quite drawn to floral prints. I do like a nice bold floral.
Yeah, I think most of the people that I've spoken to, floral seems to be quite a popular one.
Mm.
Can I ask, do you have a big personal stash, or is your stash your shop? Or
No, I have quite a big stash. Embarrassingly big stash. But yeah, I especially when I was like on maternity leave and that, I got really good at finding bargains. And then because I had nothing else to do, you know, when, especially when like I had my first one before, you know, like the second one, it wasn't as easy because I had an older one.
Yes.
But you know, when he was too small to really do anything but cuddle, I was like, well, I've got nothing else to do but watch films in fabric shop. so it kind of, and then people like, you know, people that give me like friends and that, like, oh, I've got a fabric stash that I don't want anymore. Like, I'm going up to visit some friends soon in Bradford, and one of them's like, oh, my mum has loads of fabric, do you want it? I'm like, yeah,
Please.
yeah, give it all, give it all. So it's just like kind of a mix of like fabric that I've bought, fabric that I've been given, and
Oh no, yeah, I know. I mean, as a lover of fabric, we say yes to all kinds of fabric.
Oh, yeah, even if like I have no idea what I can make with it, but I want it, I'll have it. Yeah.
So, sewing, what does it mean to you? Like, I know it means a lot of things to a lot of people, and like you say, a lot of sewists have come out from the COVID pandemic where they've had nothing to do and they just wanted to do something creative. But for you personally, what does it mean to you? How important is it to you?
I mean, it's a mixture of things. I mean, it started off as just, you know, a way to occupy boredom and keep sanity, and it very much is, you know, amongst of like juggling so many balls, it is that. But now I also see it a lot more from a sustainable point of view.
Yes.
I feel like, you know, everything that's going on, people are so much more aware of fast fashion and everything that goes on, and, you know, the poor labor conditions and just the impact that it can have on the environment. So I like, you know, I'm a lot more focused on the sustainable part, slowing down. I mean, look at my fabric stash and you wouldn't believe it.
Do you have it there next in your room?
Yeah, so my shop is kind of my shop, like I'll show you. Wait, let me turn it. Can I turn it on? Oh, so yeah, that's kind of like the fabric from my shop, and then next to it is a wardrobe with my fabric stash, and it kind of fills out onto the bottom. And then I've got another box that, because it used to be both these shelves, and then I had to move it out for the shop. So then I've got boxes, but yeah, it's more fabric than I can sew in life, and I'm really trying to do a de-stash, but I'm trying to build up the willpower to get rid of the fabric.
What was I going to say? Oh, so the next question is, will you be joining our challenge this year, Selfless Sew April 22?
Yes, I'm actually offering a £15 voucher for that, and it's, you know what, actually it's come at a really good month, because I've actually realised that I'm doing loads of selfless sewing without even intentionally. Like, my sister's asked for a pair of trousers. I'm going up to see. I used to work. I used to work abroad. Yes. I used to work as a holiday rep, and I'm having a reunion this weekend with a load of them. No. And 2 of them are now pregnant, so I'm making them like loads of baby outfits.
That's amazing. Might as well join in. You could win something.
Yeah. So I feel like it's come at a really good month where I can be like, yep. Like, I don't think I'm sewing much for myself at all this month, but yeah, I'm offering a £15 gift voucher for my shop. That's for everything, so, you know,
Thank you very much for that. And do you think our viewers can have a cheeky discount as well?
Yes. So what was it? I can't remember what the discount code was. There is a discount set up. I told you, it's one piece of information in, one piece out at the moment. Honestly, you know, I can't even remember what I was doing 5 minutes ago, but there is a discount code. Yeah, right in there. And yeah, that's 15% off. Again, everything in the shop.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you. Well, Marie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you first and foremost for sponsoring Selfless Sew April. Thank you for giving up half of your evening to talk to me.
It's been lovely.
And for all of my viewers, that was Marie. Please do, if you don't already follow her on Instagram, it's the Fabric Revival. I will write it out in the description below, with her website and everything on there as well. And thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.